is for you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to an episode of Dime Dropper, an off-season episode, and it's a trade episode. Another one of the big four, so to speak, for the Clippers. The LA or Southern California big four is gone, and we knew this was coming. Russell Westbrook, my personal favorite of the four, I would say. At least he's been for the longest amount of time. Not necessarily for what he did for the Clippers, but of course, been supporting him since UCLA, as all of you know, is gone. And before we talk about that, I just got to give a shout out to one of our new sponsors. Yes, sir. SportSpyder, one of our new sponsors, guys. If you're tired of searching multiple websites for sports news, SportSpyder.com has you covered. They just basically collect the latest articles, videos that they can find off the internet, podcasts, and organize it by team. So if you actually go to the Clippers section, you might see Locked On Clippers there. You might see Dime Dropper there. And if you're a Laker fan as well, same thing. I'm there for the Lakers section. So check that out. The link will be in the description of this video. But man, shout out to everybody in the live right now. Those of you listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, appreciate you as well. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell, fellas, so you know every single time I post a video. I'm going to have a bunch of upcoming stuff, whether it be some basketball history stuff, going back into the Dime Machine. Haven't done one of those videos in a while. And then also just some special other videos that I got planned. I'll let you know what those are. But let's talk Russ, man. It's over. It's all over. Brody is gone. Now, we knew this was coming. I think the writing was on the wall. I felt as though this was going to be Russ's last season, right when we kind of hit that slump. Even though he was injured, he had the hand injury. When we hit that slump late in the season, I was like, look, it's very clear that he doesn't love his role. Some nights he gets that extended burn, but there are other nights where he literally plays like 4 minutes and then Ty Lue would pull him out and then he would come back in for like another. No, honestly, sometimes he would get like a 6-minute shift and a half. So it just felt as though he was just truly James Harden's backup. We didn't love those minutes with those two playing together as much until they found a little bit of a common ground where you had Harden on the ball and Russ with those timely baseline cuts. Those linked up for some nice lobs and some nice highlights. But overall, having James Harden on the court with Russ just kind of took the ball out of Russ's hands. And I think you can't just have Russell Westbrook off the ball as much as he's been on the two LA teams if you want the most out of him. I think, when we got Russell Westbrook, that was the ideal role for him, was playing alongside two guys that are asking for less of the ball, who want to work quickly off the catch. And I mean, should we go back to that? Like, should we go to the whole story? Because, what is there to say about today? I didn't feel any type of way. I was happy for Russ and I was happy for the Clippers. I wanted this to come to an end. It was painful this last year seeing Russ clearly upset. It felt like, let's be honest, man, like Russell Westbrook as a bench player so far to me, he's not been a very good player. Like, I'm just going to be honest. I don't like Russell Westbrook off the bench. We'll see if it's any different in Denver. They just lost KCP, so he might still get the 5th most minutes on the team. But I don't like what Russell Westbrook has shown off the bench for the Lakers and the Clippers, because it just feels as though he comes in wanting to make this impact. He knows that he doesn't have that much time to do things, so he's just going too hard. He's not just distributing the way he does when he's starting. And I'm not saying that there's games that he starts where he's still not out of control or doing too much, but I just really enjoyed the balance, the way he was kind of playmaking in the games that he started before we acquired James Harden dating back to last season. I know we were 0-5 when we first got him, but we can, fuck it. If we're going to go through the context of it all, we can do that. We got time tonight. So I'm happy for both parties. I think Denver is a really interesting place for Russ. Very interesting. You playing with Jokic, you're going to see Russ dive off the ball, be involved in a lot of cutting, a lot of back cutting, a lot of screening. And Jokic I think he and Russ will link up very well. I think he'll use Russ's athleticism to his advantage, his speed to his advantage. And the Clippers getting Chris Dunn. I mean, an on-ball defender, a true on-ball defender, another guy that can handle the ball. Don't think he's that great at creating shots, though, in the NBA. Loved him at Providence. Loved him, even though he beat my USC Trojans in the 2016 tournament. That really hurt in that first 4 game. God, they hit one on a game winner. That really pissed me off. But I like Chris Dunn. But you know what? This episode is more about Westbrook, so let's talk about it. And by the way, if you guys want to support the channel, super chats are turned on. If you want to drop $1 or a dime, any donations appreciated for your boy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to my mods. Let's talk about, and if you want to super chat, I'll read your comment right away. Let's talk about where it started. And what's amazing is that the dime dropper era has been able to cover all of Russell Westbrook's Clipper career. Me as Locked On Clippers host has been able to cover all of Russell Westbrook's Clipper career. And I'm just happy to get to say that I did that. Like, as a Russell Westbrook fan, and the crazy part is I was making episodes about why we shouldn't sign him. And I was pissed. If you go back and watch my episode when we got Russ, oh my God, I was so angry. I was like, why are we signing Russ? He's not the needle mover. Paul George and Kawhi are making excuses about not having the ball. About having the ball too much. All that. I was not hearing it. I was like, he just played poorly for the Lakers. He's declining. You don't even trust him. You shouldn't trust him in the later stages of the playoffs. And you know what? I still believe a lot of those things when it comes to the highest level. I still don't believe, as much as I love Russell Westbrook, and I, there are a lot of Russ fans that supported this channel, and I really hope you guys still keep rocking with me. But I'm going to be honest, like, I don't think Russ is going to win a championship if he has a major role on the team. I don't know how major his role is going to be with Denver. I think he still might have the 5th most minutes, but I'm still very nervous about Russell Westbrook closing games at the highest level of the NBA playoffs. I've been nervous about that since he was in his prime. And you can point out any statistic and any big shot he's made, including the shot he made against Denver to one of the most epic regular season game winners in the history of the game for me, to basically eliminate them from playoff contention. Everybody knows the deal with Russ and the flaws that are associated with him. We've all watched him play. It's the same thing I say about Paul George. It's not just the turnover, it's the timeliness of the turnover and the certain things that he does on the basketball floor that can be detrimental to winning at the highest level. So I was anti-Russ. But when we got him, at the same time, it's like, this is one of my favorite players of all time. This is one of the guys that I have rooted for when the Clippers have been eliminated or not involved in playoffs. I root for him because I like him genuinely. I'm a fan of his. So I bought in. And what's special is I definitely went to the overwhelming majority of Russell Westbrook's games as a Clipper. And it's just special to say that as a fan of Russell Westbrook's, as a Clipper fan, because at the same time, like, and this applies to James Harden as well. I'm just so anti-James Harden that I just can't appreciate it. Sorry. This year, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you guys. I'm sorry. If you're a James Harden fan and you don't like me, fuck you. Like, it is what it is. Like, I just don't like the way your boy plays basketball. I still think he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, and he's influenced the game majorly. I can still look at what he does great on the basketball floor, but I'm not going to like the guy unless if he wins a series for us, then we can start talking. Here's the thing though. He's only said the right things as a Clipper. Clipper fans should not dislike James Harden. I, as a basketball fan, don't like him, and I never will. I'll never like the way he plays. First round though, if you get us a series win, James, maybe I'll like you. But anyway, point being, when you see, I appreciate having, and I still will say this, it's still so surreal seeing James Harden as a Clipper when I go to the games. It still is. I mean, he's an icon. Russell Westbrook, having Hall of Famers in the Clippers, my point being, having Hall of Famers in the Clippers, former MVPs in the Clippers, no matter how washed they may be, like, that's really cool. Like, even though John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Rondo, they didn't have like the best tenures as Clippers, I still genuinely was just like, I was in awe of seeing them on the team. And at the same time, I have love for Boogie and Rondo a lot, just in the fact that they were on that 2021 team. Anybody that was on that roster and got minutes at any point, and in Rondo and Boogie's case, they got minutes throughout, and not all of them were good, but I really appreciate everybody on that team. I think they all played a part. And John Wall I like because I was a fan of John Wall before, but as a Clipper, nah. I didn't fully enjoy Russell Westbrook's time as a Clipper, though. That's why I'm happy it's over. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't that fun. And it doesn't have much to do with Russ, if I'm being honest. But it also does, because Russell Westbrook, I mean, he's a very emotional player. He's an emotional guy. You need to cater to him. You need to cater to him, man. And I think the same applies to Harden and a lot of players in the NBA, but you really got to cater to his strengths. And in certain roles, he can just be detrimental. But what I saw that first game, and you can find that vlog right on this channel, the second highest scoring game in NBA history. One of my mods, if you'd be so kind, if you can link that video in the chat for the people, that'd be really nice. That was that was the second greatest regular season game I had ever been to. That was the best Clipper regular season game I'd ever been to. And I've been to over 100, probably over 150 at this point. I could see the vision right there. I could see what Paul George and Kawhi were talking about, having a point guard that could really pass. The pace was instantly increased, which we needed. We got a guy that could get downhill, a vocal leader, and a guy that put energy in the building that we had lost without guys like Bev and Montrez. So I saw the vision right there. And even though I still didn't believe we could win a championship in 2023, because of the way that season had gone, I thought that maybe this season can have a good ending. Maybe we can make a little run and Russ will prove me wrong and show everybody, especially Laker fans, that like he still has a lot in the tank and he can still help a good team win. And then, we lose those first 5 games. First of all, Ivica Zubac missed several of those games. That's a level of context that the Russ haters and certain Clipper fans that want to push the anti-Russ agenda or a pro-Harden agenda, however you want to put it, they don't talk about that in those first 5 games. Ivica Zubac was out for several of them. That second game we played against the Denver Nuggets in Denver, we were pretty close to winning. That was one of the closest games we had gotten to beating Denver in Denver in a long time. And it was partially because Russell Westbrook's rim pressure. He really made Jamal Murray guard. He was another guy that could guard Jamal Murray. And we lost that game because Marcus Morris Sr. was, for whatever reason, I don't know what he was paying Ty Lue under the table to keep him in the games. It was insane how he kept him in that overtime. And then the third game was right on this channel that you can see. I was in the third row against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that was just a bad loss. And I think Russ actually was pretty bad in that game. And this is when I was thinking, like, look, I can see what Russ does well, but it was so pointless to get Russ at this stage of the season because adjusting to Russ is an adjustment. He's not just any guy. No matter what kind of contract he's on, he has a presence on the basketball court. You know what I mean? He is a personality. He still has the ego of, I'm Russell Westbrook. I'm one of the best players on any court that I play on. And some people think he's delusional for thinking that. At times, he can make plays that are like, yeah, you got to, settle down. But, when he's at his best, he really can still dominate games. And then the all-time low was that game against the Warriors on the road where we went 0-4, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when I was just like, geez, this is a disaster. Draymond Green wasn't even guarding Russ. Laker fans were having a field day. I remember that. And I was just like, this is a joke. And then the final game, he played great. The ball slipped out of his hands against the Kings, 0-5. Didn't have Kawhi in that game. But then we went on that 4-game winning streak. It looked like it was starting to go well. It started with that win against the Grizzlies. That's another great video, one of my all-time great vlogs on this channel. And then after that, we had the Paul George injury. And that really derailed our season. Russ had that incredible game against Memphis, though, where that famous picture was taken with him on the floor screaming. That was one of his best moments. And then for me, I would say my favorite Clipper win, playoffs and regular season combined, my favorite Clipper win since, since 2021 was game 1 against the Suns. Because I legitimately thought we were about to beat those guys without Paul George. Russ, his effort, like the 3 for 19 and still making all those winning plays, and then playoff Kawhi and beating Phoenix, and the way Kawhi outplayed Kevin Durant. Oh my God. I was on cloud 9. Go back and watch that post game on my channel, or Locked On Clippers, on both. I was just ecstatic. And then the unfortunate news that Kawhi got hurt, it was such a gut punch. And you have the game 3 vlog on this channel as well. His first Clipper. It was crazy to me that Russ played a Clipper playoff home game in front of a sold-out crowd before Kawhi did. Like, that was just insane. He was electric in those games. He didn't have a good game 5, but like in the playoffs, Russ showed so many people that he still had a lot in the tank. Like, he really did play so hard. He averaged 20 plus points. He made games 3 and 4 competitive. He really, even game 5. And, then the offseason happened and we made a play for Malcolm Brogdon. And that's when I was wondering, like, where does that leave Russ? Because we hadn't re-signed him yet. When that fell through, then we re-signed Russ. I was still thinking maybe we'd have Malcolm Brogdon come off the bench, but then I was confused because I was like, where does Bones Highland fall into the equation? And Russ wasn't signed. So I was like, man, are we trying to replace Russ? I was a little skeptical there because we know that Lawrence Frank didn't want Russ. Russ was Paul George pushed. When Paul George saying, I don't want to bring the ball up all the time, like basically the exact opposite of what he was saying in pre-2020, 2021 season. During the summer, that's when the James Harden rumors started, and it was like James Harden wants to come to the Clippers. And me, obviously, being the James Harden hater of his game, again, nothing personal, of the guy, I was like, my heart started racing. I'm starting to drink tequila. I was like, no, this cannot happen. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, is Russell Westbrook leaving? Like, do people really think he's going to go to the bench and be okay with it? Like, what are we talking about here? I thought we brought Russ in to be our point guard. Isn't that the whole selling point, that he's the guy that we needed? I was a mess. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I said blow it up, but I'm okay with doing another year as long as it means we don't have James Harden. Because I know what's going to happen with James Harden. What's going to happen with James Harden is he's going to come. We're going to have a great regular season because James Harden's a regular season god. We're going to fool people into thinking that we're a real contender. And then Paul George and him are going to blow it in the playoffs. And we didn't even get to see that, because Kawhi Leonard got hurt again. But those first couple games of this past season, go back and watch that vlog of game 1 and 2. They're all, by the way, these are all playlists. You don't have to just go search my videos. These are all in the playlists of each season. Like, my goal is to make my channel like a library for all this stuff in like 10 years. But I was on cloud 9, man. I was on cloud 9 after those games. I was like, this is going well. I just wanted the Clippers front office to give the team enough of a chance to show how far we were from contention. And depending on how far we are, what areas are we lacking? Are we lacking a shot creator? Are we lacking a power forward? Are we lacking another big man? What are we lacking? We have expiring contracts that we gave up for Harden early in the season because it's clear that Lawrence Frank never wanted Russ. He never believed in him. And I think that's scum business, if we're being real. You don't sell a guy. All the articles that were coming out when we got Russ were, he's the point guard. He's going to start here. Paul George and Marcus Morris are publicly advocating for him. This is going to be everything the Lakers isn't or wasn't. From the way the fans received him, to the way the media, the local beat writers covered him. And I just want to give a shout out to our beat writers. I think they did just such a good job of giving Russ good publicity when he was here. Yeah. I think that there obviously was an effort in the beginning to show the positive aspects of Russ. And one thing I've learned about Russ over the years is that he's much better with the local media than the national. And once he feels like a narrative is starting to be painted, he's going to lose trust in you as the media. And you saw that with the Lakers. And with the Clippers, I think he was just, from everything I heard, he was pretty solid, pretty good to everybody. Of course, there were games that he wouldn't want to speak to the media this year because he was upset. And I understand that. We should know, this is my thing. When you sign a guy, you know Russell Westbrook's track record, you know his history, you know how he operates. You talk to people around the league about the kind of player, kind of personality he is. You should know what he wants. Or here's the thing. Some people might say, like, the devil's advocate is like, who gives a shit what Russell Westbrook wants? He's a $4 million player. But do you want a harmonious situation where people are buying into their roles and are satisfied with their roles? Or you want people that are upset with their roles? Because in every championship team that I've seen in my life, for the most part, dudes are sacrificing, but they're sacrificing willingly. Russell Westbrook can say whatever he wants in the quotes. We saw the body language. And how can somebody that has Russell Westbrook's has only played one way, has only been given a certain leash, be okay with 6 minutes off the bench per half at times. Like, that's just, I mean, come on. And then when he's on the court, he has to play a lot of off ball. Like, some people just believe that what else do you want to do with him? He's not good anymore. See, I just strongly disagree personally. I don't think somebody that can do what he did against Phoenix this past year is just not good. I think the argument is Russell Westbrook has to be catered to a lot, right? And if you're not playing him a certain way, he can lose interest and he can become volatile in the sense that he wants to go hard to prove certain things. He forces the issue, these kind of things. And that can make him hard to adjust to. And if you give him the leash that he wants, are the missed layups, are the turnovers going to add up? And are you not going to be able to win at the highest level? So that's the real, discussion around Westbrook, right? And I totally see that side of it. But my thing is this. You bought into it, bro. As an organization, you signed this guy. You've made all of us as fans buy into this. You made this whole training camp that this is going to be a fast-paced team and do all this. And then you traded him for his friend that you wanted to replace him. And anybody that was naive enough to believe that starting lineup was going to work out, you clearly do not understand who Russell Westbrook and James Harden are at this stage of their careers. And you don't understand that that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being on the team and this being their team was going to not allow it to be like what it was in Houston. People that were saying, you clearly didn't see James Harden and Russ play in Houston. I watched a lot of those games when they were playing to get each other in Houston. And the fact of the matter is, when you don't have any other guys to defer to, that can work out. We had Paul George and Kawhi, and it's also a worse version of Harden and Russ. So this is not how it was back in 2020. It was clear that it was bad because everybody was just deferring to one another. James Harden was playing off ball, and he doesn't do anything off the ball. He just stands around, and he's a good catch and shoot three-point shooter by percentage, but he's not always the most willing catch and shoot three-point guy. Russell Westbrook, he's not a good shooter in any way, shape, or form. Even his mid-range is cooked. He misses a lot of layups, but he is a solid cutter. He was a good cutter with the Clippers, solid screen setter, especially on those slip screens, and he makes good decisions out of that short roll getting downhill. I think just the balance wasn't good enough after Harden came in terms of Russ. He was just off ball too much. And the thing about Russ too is when this stuff is happening, he can often get disengaged defensively. Once he saw that there was like a minutes limit to making the defensive team or a threshold that he wasn't going to reach, and he wasn't going to be able to be on an all defensive team, his effort on that end of the floor waned. It did. And I think he just got, dissatisfied with the situation over the course of the year. I just don't think that's cool. And I'm always going to hold a little bit of resentment towards that iteration of the Clippers team for doing that. The Clippers angle is we're trying to get better. It's I feel you. You really think that adding James Harden, we're going to win the championship? I just strongly disagree with you. Is it going to make us better? Yes, it is marginally. Not marginally. It'll make us better. It just depends what you thought the team was going to be with Russ. Some people think we were going to be a playing team if we didn't get Harden. So, if you think that, then yeah, we got a lot better with Harden. But you don't make a trade to me to help out Kawhi and Paul who haven't held up their end of the bargain. You don't go all in as if they're doing everything they can, but they're not getting enough help. Are you serious? We're giving up assets because Kawhi did not stay healthy. Paul George didn't even stay healthy in 2023, and we're giving up assets. I mean, if Paul George and Kawhi said to the front office, hey, we need more. So essentially, Russell Westbrook, that's not enough. That's what I want to know. The discussions when it came to getting Russ and Harden, how much were Paul George and Kawhi pushing for Harden? And if it was just Lawrence Frank, of course, Kawhi, I'm guessing Kawhi and Paul George are yeah, I'm cool with it. You do what you want. I mean, I'm not going to say no to James. He's a great player. But do they not think what could happen? When I watch championship teams, everyone for the most part is satisfied with their role and they're maximizing their role. Russell Westbrook is not maximizing his role. To me, he's a star. I don't know how it's going to be with Denver. So let's just talk about that, right? So it didn't work out with Russ. He was awful in the playoffs. We know how it went. I'm happy it's done. And I will not miss the conversations after every single game. More Russ minutes. Do I agree with what a lot of the Russ fans were saying? Yes. But I also think a lot of them were batshit crazy, and I won't miss them at all. We are just one step closer to being free at last. PG stands are out. Russ stands are out. Now the two worst ones of all I need out. And that's my opinion, that they're the two worst ones of all. Get them the fuck out of here. I cannot wait. But I will say there's a lot of Russ fans that supported me, and I hope you're still rocking with me because I'm still going to be rocking with Brody. I still love Russell Westbrook. I'm still going to be rooting for him. The Clippers are out. I will be rooting for the Denver Nuggets to make it out of the West. I want Russ to win a ring. But, I mean, I'm happy it's done. I'm not going to miss those conversations. The thing about the Russ fans is that I will say they're funny in the sense that they stand on their we need more Russ minutes after every game, win or lose. Like, it's just they're so consistent. They'll have arguments. They'll call people out. They'll do that on social media. And I think that's hilarious. It is funny. They're wild. They're absolutely wild. I'm not going to miss it though. We don't need more of that in the fan base, even on social media. But the answer to every question as to why your team's struggling, more Russ minutes. Hey, what's the answer to fixing world hunger? More Russ minutes. How do we fix global warming? More Russ minutes. How do we cure cancer? More Russ minutes. Everything is more Russ minutes. So I give them a shout out for that. They're pretty funny. But as far as with the Nuggets, man, he's not going to start. And if he does, I don't love that starting lineup. You got two non-shooters in Aaron Gordon and Russ, who are fantastic all-around players, in my opinion, but that's not ideal in the modern NBA. Especially when Jokic is going to post up. Like, what are you going to have? You're going to have two guys in the dunker spot. Like, you're going to have one guy on the left wing. You're going to have Russ on the wing and Aaron Gordon in the dunker. Like, the guy that's guarding, they're just going to, tag Aaron Gordon and sink. Like, it's just going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So you might want to just kind of maybe stagger Gordon and Russ's minutes as much as you can. But what I do think is going to be great is the pace that the Nuggets play at, like Jokic's ability to get a rebound and just outlet to Russ and just let him go. That's going to be awesome to see. I think he's going to add a lot of energy. He's a huge up. If you're a Nuggets fan, here's how I would feel. Big upgrade over Reggie. Michael Malone's just going to have to know when to pull the plug on him if he's doing a little too much. My issue with the Nuggets is they haven't replaced KCP. And Russell Westbrook is not KCP. He's great in different ways, but he's not replacing KCP. KCP is a 3-and-D point of attack defender in this league, one very solid at what he does. That's a huge loss. I don't think Christian Brown, based on that sophomore slump he had last season, I don't trust him to take over that spot and do well with it. I think they're still going to be a top 4 seed just because Jokic is so great and Murray is so good. I think they really need to get Michael Porter Jr. involved more as a scorer in isolation. As a guy they can throw the ball to and say, get us a bucket. There's a lot of switching that's done against the Nuggets because you want to try to take away that Jokic-Murray pick and roll. MPJ's cross-matched a lot. I think it's really going to help to have another pace pusher on this Nuggets team, to be honest. I really do. Because if you get cross-matched and you have Murray against certain guys they can cook, Jokic against – like, there are only a certain amount of guys in the league that can guard Jokic. Actually, there isn't really any. But there's certain mismatches that you can exploit very quickly if Jokic is being guarded by certain guys of a certain size. And pushing the pace, getting those cross matches, I think that's going to be big. I just think the Nuggets don't have enough shooting right now. And their point of attack defense, just getting Russ. I mean, Christian Brown is fantastic, but in that respect, Peyton Watson, good defender. But you know what? I'm a little more worried just about their offense. I think that's crazy to say with Jokic and Murray. But I will say this. I think Jokic and Murray's ability to make tough shots and post up and be great in the mid-range will counter a lot of the not ideal spacing that's going to happen with Gordon and Russ. I really do. Like having that was my vision when we got him. It's like, yeah, Kawhi and Paul George, they're going to load up off of them. They'll still be able to get their contested midi off. And sometimes that's a decent shot for them. You know what I'm saying? So like, and with Jokic, you're going to get more hard doubles. If you hard double, that's when Russ can dive and then make a play. And Jokic will find him every time on that cut. He's going to be so encouraged to cut. It's going to be great. But the thing is, if they're loading up, and that's what they're going to do a lot of, especially with Gordon out there, if they're loading up off of Russ and Gordon, essentially sending like 3 bodies shading Jokic and Murray, that's going to be tough. Now you have Russ on the wing, and he's not a great shooter. And, you want him to – it's tough. Like, how many threes you want him to take? Do you want him to keep the defense honest, or you want him to just go downhill and attack? I think also having Russ to take the ball out of Murray's hands a little bit, having another on-ball creator, because it felt like when Jokic was out, it's just Murray against the world. And having Russell Westbrook and Murray out there together will be nice, I think. My thing is this. Russ, I'm just a little bit nervous about the ugh. If the Nuggets just don't have the shooting from Christian Brown, like Russ is going to be playing a good amount. I just hope he doesn't have too many crucial turnovers and big moments. It's bound to happen at some point, but for his own sake, because he's going to be at the end of the day, he is playing on a better team. He's playing on a better team than us. So he's going to be in big moments, high pressure situations, and we're going to see how he does. This is probably his last stop. This is it. He's playing with probably the best team he's played with since those Oklahoma City Thunder teams. Let's see what you do. I'm rooting for him. I think the way the Nuggets roster is constructed, it's such a huge upgrade over Reggie. That's how I'd say if I'm a Nuggets fan. I'm going to be a little nervous about him at times. As I said, Michael Malone's got to manage him, but it's such a big upgrade over Reggie. Such a big upgrade. But you still haven't replaced KCP, and Russ is not the answer to that. And you know what? Russ might start. Like, let's say Russ starts instead of Christian Brown because he's so much better. Murray, Russ, Porter, Gordon, Jokic. It's still pretty good, but like the spacing is just not that ideal. And if they're loading up, it's just tough when they kick it out to Russ. He's not always taking advantage of like fully tilted defenses because the defense can recover a bit. They're inviting him to get the ball. But if they're hard doubling, and Jokic is the type of guy that earns those hard doubles, then Westbrook will be able to dive into space and then make a play. So that'll be good. But I see a lot of Jokic, Russ lobs potentially in the works. But yeah, wish him the best. As far as Chris Dunn coming our way, I'm excited about that. I mean, he's a very good on-ball defender. We need more of that. So that's one thing that I love is the identity of our team now is shifting towards defense first, which it should have always been with 2-1-3, but I digress. They wanted to go for James Harden. Chris Dunn, Derek Jones, Terrence Mann, Amir Coffey, these guys can all guard. And the way Kobe Brown and Jordan Miller are looking in the summer league, they're making a case as well. They got some good defensive instincts. I think as far as Kobe Brown, it's the lateral quickness that I'm a little nervous about against guarding wings, but he's a big body, that low man help at times. And his off-ball defense, his rotations, those are all really good. He's very physical, but is he quick enough to stay with guys on the perimeter? And is he big enough to be that low man and have solid rotations? Jordan Miller, I think, has more of a chance to be a solid NBA player, but that's a conversation for another day. Fact of the matter is, Chris Dunn, is he going to be our full-time backup point guard? Because he's not a great shot creator. He's still not a very, very good shooter. But what does that mean for Bones Highland? Because I think Chris Dunn's better than Bones Highland. He's going to give us that on-ball defense. But we don't really have a shot creator off the bench. We have Kevin Porter potentially, but we still have guys like Amir Coffey, Nico Batum, Mo Bamba. We got a little logjam at guard. And if we're being real, I think Bones is going to be on the move. It seems like it. And that's really unfortunate. And another decision that I don't agree with this Clippers organization, bringing Bones. Like the James Harden move also kind of sucked for Bones. He ended up being a third string. And again, there's a lot of people that think if Bones Highland's your backup point guard, you can't be serious. Just think we're speaking prematurely. Like we got to give these guys a chance. Like we didn't really give that team a chance. But whatever. I wish Bones the best as well. Just unfortunate. Like I just don't love the direction of the team. I think there's some things to be excited about though this season in the sense that we have more defensive guys. The new stadium is the highlight of everything. Like, I mean, the Intuit Dome is what the reason there is to be excited about this season for us. And I can't lie. Like I'm still a little bit like kind of nervous about what I'm going to do this season. Cause like I'm not getting my season tickets because I'm taking a stand, but am I going to be able to get the media credential? And am I going to like being credentialed at games, not having a seat? I don't know. Is it going to hurt my vlogs? How many games am I going to miss? Am I going to be able to still get a nice interview spot? All that stuff, like as I'm in my brain, it's going to be a whole new routine. Like my life as a fan is changing. And you can say my life is changing because the Clippers are such a big part of my life. That's going to be crazy. But here's the great part about it. You're going to all be able to see that adjustment in my life firsthand right here from the first preseason game and exploring the entire thing and comparing it to Staples Center. So I'm excited for that journey, man. I'm excited for that stuff. And this is all part of the process. It's all part of the process because one day when we win our first championship, I might be 50. Who knows? We'll have all this to look back on if I'm still doing my channel. So I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Russ fans, I wish you the best. I hope you stick around with me during the season. I'm going to talk about the Nuggets at certain checkpoints. If I'm watching them consistently, which I probably will be, I'll be, adding them into some of my post-game lives and talking about them. But in the playoffs, I'll talk about them every night. It won't be the same as me talking about Russ every single game like now, but it was a pleasure to get to follow Russell Westbrook's every game. I just didn't enjoy what was happening to him. We had him in the perfect role, and he's not great as a backup. So, that's my last point. He's not great as a backup. So we'll see how it works with Denver. I still think those same flaws still exist. If he feels like he's not getting enough minutes and they're still a great team, then I think he might be forcing shit. But it's a solid role. We'll see. We'll read some comments. Why not? That's it for those that are listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Appreciate you all. Sorry about all the shout outs about certain things. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that might be annoying, but hey man, I'm trying to do as many shows as possible and still give you guys the content as well. So let me know what you think. Leave a 5-star review. Text me if you're listening on audio. I know I get more views on YouTube than audio, but keep pushing that audio. You can always listen to me on audio if you can't catch the YouTube guys. That's an option. Peace out, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, y'all. What's good? Let's see some comments. Alfonso Lopez says the Brody clip era was short but sweet. Unbelievable first game as a clip. Yeah, we still lost, though. What was it, a year and a half with the Clippers? Did he play more games with the Lakers or the Clippers? Let's check. He played playoff games with the Clippers. How about that? He didn't actually play. The Lakers are the only organization that Russell Westbrook didn't play a playoff game for. What does that say about the Lakers? Russell Westbrook played 89 games in the regular season for the Clippers, 5 games in the playoffs against the Suns. So that's 94. And then 6 games this season. So 100. He played 100 games for the Clippers. For the Lakers, let's see. 22, 78 plus 22, 100. So 130. He played 130 for the Lakers. He played more for the Lakers. That sucks. Anyway, no more Westbrook on my team. Come on, Clip Gang. Give Paul George in your profile picture still. Bones getting traded too. I know. Really lost a Hall of Famer. A tragic day. No, it's not scam. Don't act fake. Tragic day. You think if we kept PG, Russ would still want out? Yeah, I do. It sucks. We lost the two guys in the duo that I actually of the quartet I actually liked. Would love to see him get a title. What's up, West Trueblood? Love Russ. Frustrating player at times. Yeah. Dana Prito says, or Prito, he plays too fast, and when nobody's there to make the pass too, when he's flying down the court and realizes he can't make the layup, he just makes a turnover. Justin's plays his thoughts on Derek Jones. I mean, go listen to my episodes talking about the Mavs. I mean, my thoughts on Derek Jones are, I have a Locked On episode about it, and I talked about his every game for the Mavs, and it's all in the playlist. It's a great move for us. Good on-ball defense, adds to our athleticism. Russ in a really good situation. Good for him. Clips get younger. I loved Russ' energy and what he brought to the team, but man, he made my head go crazy at some moments. Dana said Russ lost athleticism. John Uring, LCSW, says Russ did really well with our team, I'd say. I disagree. I don't think he did really well. Shan Music says Harden was the problem. Never needed to trade for Harden. Don't you mean Frank was the problem? How Shan? Harden never cuts, never shoots off the catch, plays no D, and plays with no passion. I agree with that, except he was playing D for a while in the season. Why are you saying this like it's such a crazy statement, Bones? It's not like he had that stretch, for a lot of the season where he was playing solid defense, but come on, in the playoffs, he only could guard Luka. When he was guarding Kyrie Irving and his off-ball D, his transition D, it's just so low effort to me. He doesn't even get in a stance half the time. More than half. It's never a good idea for Harden to play with any point guards, in my opinion. It never works. Chris Paul, bruh. Harden is a point guard. Any point guard with him is a 2-guard. He's so ball dominant. It's gross. Vlog number 11. Is that, what do you mean? That's the Kings one? The team never needed a trade for Harden. Sounds good. Has Russ ever adjusted for a team? Great point, Scam. I think he really hasn't. Actually, no, Houston. I'd say that's the one example. Lakers, he tried. It was awful. Clippers, not really. He tried and it was not good. He tried to adjust, but it didn't work out. I'd say Houston was the best. Russ legit came off the bench twice. It would have worked, in my opinion, if Harden never came. I agree with that in terms of Russ still being very good. I think this team would have beat Phoenix if Rocco played over Morris. Without Kawhi and Paul George? I doubt it. Russ was forced to the bench. The Clippers front office just let him have good PR. Yeah. Well, Russ should stay a starter. Yeah, that was never going to happen. Harden not better than Manu. Manu is a sixth man and won rings. First of all, Manu Ginobili is not just a sixth man. He was a starter at times, and I think that's selling him short. James Harden is a more talented basketball player than Manu Ginobili. He's accomplished more on an individual level. He peaked higher, and he could do things as the number one option that Manu Ginobili can never dream of, in my opinion. But I understand your argument because Manu Ginobili could scale down a lot easier, and he just played hard, man. He's the kind of guy I'd go to war with any day of the week. Won a gold medal with Argentina. Manu would be way better in this era. So like, honestly, you taking Manu over him, I'm not even tripping. That's how much I'm high on Manu and how low I am on Harden all the time. Last time Harden made the finals, he was a sixth man. Why not create that? He don't give a shit. He doesn't, because that was a long time ago. Look at what he's become. Ty Lue Love's affair with Morris was gross. Legit, just let Russ start, play him regular minutes, but don't close. Simple as that. Eric Watkins. Flippers fans talking about Russ like they poverty franchise going to do some. Man, shut your bitch ass up, Eric Watkins. Clippers did Brody dirty. Harden not doing shit. I feel you. Defense wins championships, and Clippers are kind of volatile with that. What's up, Jeremiah? What do you think is realistic need the Clippers will have? Oh my God. Like 7? Because Kawhi's injured. Because Kawhi is going to miss a lot of games. What a do, Clip Game. What's up, Sammy Slam? Your boy's gone. Gonna miss watching my boy run the point for the Clips. Y'all still got a squad, though. We do not have a squad. Spitting facts. Trade MPJ and Aaron Gordon for Jimmy Butler and Jaime Jaquez. Interesting. Jokic is just good because they have all the right pieces around him. Excuse me? Look what happened to him in U.S. versus Serbia. Are you being serious? Are you being serious? Step off. Sinner Jr. Let's relax. Degenerate? Calm down. No, I'm good. He has the perfect pieces around him to enhance all the great stuff he does. He's not going to ever score one-on-one against someone. Are you, bro, what? You guys like you've never seen Jokic play in your life. Harden and Kawhi got to leave by the deadline. No, they can't because we need to finish better than Houston, man, to keep our pick. We need to finish better than Houston. Kawhi to Toronto for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and Yusuf Nurkic. What kind of garbage-ass trade is that? Harden, Norm, and Podol to bro, Shan Music. What the fuck are you on, bro? Yeah, that's terrible. Clippers ain't winning a chip anytime soon. I understand that already. You think it's easy for me to understand that? If it takes 50 years to win a ring, I'm willing to wait. Yeah, I hope I'm alive. And Win says, Nuggets fan here, and I'm cautiously excited. Do you think he can excel as a primary creator off the bench? Yeah, of course. How's he with DHOs? I mean, bro, team's going to go under the screen with Russ. That's what's going to be tough. I didn't mention that. I'll mention that in a sec. Team's going to go under the screen with Russ. You just got to hope that Jokic is just such a good safety valve that he can still get him the ball inside the arc. Not inside the arc, mainly like within 12 feet. He can just work from there. And I think Jokic will minimize a lot of those flaws in pick and roll. Derek Jones, LLC episode. Thank you. Kawhi didn't get hurt. His sister was sentenced to life in prison. That's why he didn't play. Stop the hurt cap. What? Harden ate too many honey buns down the stretch. He couldn't play D. What's up, Ben the Kid? Clippers. Okay, Jay. At least it's home court and playing. I will be there if we 7, but I think 6. If Kawhi plays 60 games, I think Kawhi plays 55-ish. I'd be down to trade Kawhi for Cam Brink. All right, one thing I wanted to say. One thing I also wanted to say, actually, that I forgot about was pick and rolls. I think Russ can be solid in pick and rolls, but teams are always going to go under the screen, which can be frustrating as an offense. But I think having Jokic on those rolls and him catching the ball within, 12 feet, 10 feet, and just working from there, he can really minimize some of Russ's flaws there. So, yeah, I think that and then Russ being a primary ball handler off the bench is his move. But the one thing I also wanted to say was I'm going to really miss Russell Westbrook with the crowd. He was one of the best Clippers we've ever had at engaging with the crowd. I loved when he started especially, but he would always just come in and run towards that section of the crowd. I was the one, and I'm going to take full responsibility for saying it. I was the one that started the Brody chants in 207 because before they were just chanting Russ, 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 and they would go off beat all the time. So I started the Brody because it was a little easier. And that was great, man. We started chanting it every game. He started acknowledging the crowd. I thought that was special. He made us feel like part of the experience. And when he was starting and he ran over before the game and would always stare at that, behind that basket, those are special moments. Like, I'm going to cherish that forever, that I got to see. And it wasn't until like halfway through last season where I was like, man, it feels normal seeing Russ at the games now. But I just never felt like I got the full Russ experience because he never really got to be unleashed the way we intended on him being unleashed when we first got him, or at least we acted like we were gonna. So I just think we should have never signed him if we were gonna do that to him. If we're gonna just replace him in the summer, like I wonder what those conversations with Paul and Lawrence Frank and Kawhi were like. Like some of the Kawhi fans are like, Kawhi never wanted Russ. That was all PG. Like how the fuck do you know? But anyway, all right, guys, that's it for me in this one. Appreciate you all. Leave a comment in the video. Let me know what you think of the trade. I'm happy to have Chris done, and we'll see how it goes from here. Peace out, and more videos coming soon.